Hey everyone, I'm Ty'Kei Spinks.
I'm Aisha L, and we are here at the Up Company.
How y'all doing? Alright, so last week's video was a video we did for World Mental Health Day, and we were talking about feelings versus thoughts and why you should come to counseling. But the video this week will be a little different. This week we're going to talk about counseling myths and misconceptions. This is a topic that no therapist can get enough of. This is a topic that all clients and potential clients have when they come into counseling or when they're thinking about it. So Aisha is going to introduce our first misconception. Well, this one is probably a misconception and a myth.
So, the first myth/misconception of why people don't come to counseling, an excuse I actually hear a lot is counseling is for crazy people.
Crazy, just something wrong with them.
Right, so first, what is a crazy person?
I don't even know. I guess somebody who just their stuff just doesn't make sense. It's just too heavy. It's just crazy. You know what crazy is.
Right. I guess people think that I don't know, like the old fashioned, like back in the days where, counseling is for people who just can't get right.
Right. Just can't get
but
right.
Counseling is for everybody.
Right, it's for everybody. It's for young, old, white, black, yellow, red. Counseling is for everybody. Everybody with problems. I don't know a person without problems. Do you know someone without problems?
Not a one.
There we have it. Counseling is for everybody.
Right. And then you said something like counseling is for red, black, white, all of that. That takes us into our second myth.
Right.
Counseling is for white people.
White people. Whether you spell it W-H-I-T-E or Y-T or however you spell it, we like to believe, definitely in the African American community, sadly, we like to believe that counseling is for white people. Counseling is not just for white people. Black people come to it too. What would I say? Black, red, yellow, green people come to it.
Right. I mean, but definitely to address that misconception there, I think I can speak on the African American culture when it's like you go to church and it's just like, well, if you're going to believe in God and you're going to pray, then why do I need to go to counseling?
Right.
So if I heard that my whole entire life, and I've never seen anyone that looks like me as a counselor or a therapist, then I'm just going to have that thought, counseling is for white people.
Right, and then, when you see it on the movies, except for if you watch Antoine Fisher or something like that, you see a lot of, white people on it, but, just because they don't show it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So counseling is for everyone. It's for, like I said, white, brown, yellow, red, green, blue, purple, all colors of people. It's not just for white people. They utilize it. They may utilize it more than other cultures because they have more access to it, or they may be more educated on the services provided. But it's not just for white people.
And we are here to educate everybody. Because we want everyone who needs the services to use them. That's what they are here for. That's why we are a therapist. And we are ready to see you.
Let's go to our third one. You go to counseling to receive advice/be told what to do. Wrong. We are not advice givers. We're not psychics. We're not advice givers. We're not gurus. We're not life coaches. We're none of that. What we are basically professional guiders. We help guide you to the solutions that help you solve the issues of your life that you bring to us. We don't give advice. Some are more directive than others, i.e. some probably will tell you what to do, but it's not our job to give advice or tell you what to do. We're just here to help guide you. We're basically a human mirror. I know humans make a better door than mirror, but what we do is you bring us an issue and you bring us the solutions that you don't think you have, and all we do is we reflect it back.
Right. And I know that sounds a little weird hearing it, but once you've been through the process, you'll understand that more. It's like you had the solution all along, but you needed to talk through it, and you needed somebody to help you have another point of view.
Right.
Then we're going to go into number 4. my counselor will think I am crazy if I tell them everything that's going on with me, because there's a lot going on with me.
Right, just he gonna look at you like, what you talking about, Willis? Or it's none of that. We're here to help you with your problems. Nothing is too crazy for your counselor or your therapist of any sort, and that's the beauty of it. Anything and everything that you can think of, anything and everything under the sun, we have to be ready for it. In fact, we're trained to be ready for it. That's not to say we're not human as well. We're not going to have feelings towards it, or we're just going to sit here like, no. But we're ready for any and everything you bring to us, because we want to be able to help you in the best way possible, regardless of the issue.
Right. You don't have to isolate yourself because you think your problem is too big. Counselors probably have seen and heard it all, and that's what we are trained to do.
Train, that's the key word, train.
So, what if I seen a counselor before and it just wasn't my fit? Like, how do you feel about that?
You know, counselors are people as well. So, you know, you may mesh with one person, you may not mesh with someone else. Just because that one didn't work for you, it doesn't mean you can't go to another one and it may work for you. You saw a male the first time, you may go to another male, or maybe even the female the first time. You saw a black person the first time, you may go to a white person or an Asian person the first time. You know, you just have to find what works for you. And there's so many of us out here that there's a counselor for everyone, literally.
Yeah, and then also my question is always, well, how many times did you actually go? Did you go that one time, and did you go with judgment, like this isn't going to work? Did you have that set in your mind? Because that plays a lot into it. And then also you gotta give it more than one time. A lot of people are in their 30s and this is their first time going to counseling. You're not gonna undo what you've done in 30 years in the first hour session. So you definitely have to give it time to work, and it is a commitment.
Because the beautiful thing about counseling is it's just like a car. You get out of it what you put into it. So if you put time, effort, and energy into it, you'll get good results back. Of course, you got to remain disciplined. You have to remain consistent. But it helps. It helps if you help yourself.
Right. And then that takes us to misconception number 6. Counseling is too expensive. How do I fund counseling?
Okay, so I'm just going to go out there and say, depending on the program, it may not be that expensive. Here at the Up Company, we have a free and reduced counseling program. So free, 0, reduce, 35. And there are many other programs like that. You just got to do your research. You have to talk to people, network, because this counselor may charge $120, but this counselor may charge $60, and this counselor may charge $25. Now, it's rare that you'll find someone that charges $25 because, you know, it's still a job, but it's different prices.
Right. And then also, if you have health insurance, definitely call your health insurance and see what your behavioral plan is, because insurance definitely does cover your counseling. You may have a copay. And if your copay is high, ask around. Most counselors offer sliding scales. I know definitely here at the Up Company, with me, I offer a sliding scale. So if you're not using insurance or you're not private pay, we do have a sliding scale of $65.
What's a sliding scale? I don't really know what that is.
Oh, so that means a normal session would be $120. But if you're unable to pay that, then we can work with you.
So if I don't have 120 and all I got is 65, I can pay you 65 and still get what somebody who paid the 120 would get?
Definitely.
Wow.
Same quality.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing right there.
So then we go on to misconception number 7. I'm not supposed to talk about my family's problems. I'm not supposed to talk about what goes in the house outside of the house.
You ain't supposed to say none of that. This is a common misconception among a lot of coaches. I'm not going to point anyone specifically out because, you know, we all have general rules in family across the world. There's 7 billion people in the world. And each family, you know, have some rules that are similar. In counseling, you can talk about anything you want. That goes back to misconception number 4. My counselor would think I'm crazy if I tell them what's wrong in my life. tell them it's here for you. Counseling is the 1 hour a week where the only thing that matters is what you bring to the table. You don't have to be strong friend. You don't have to be, good girl, good boy, anything like that. You talk about whatever you need to help you progress mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and even physically, whether it involves your family or not. If it happens to involve your family, that's one thing, but if it doesn't, that's okay. But you talk about whatever you want.
And the unique thing about that is there's this little thing called confidentiality. So what you tell your counselor or therapist, it stays with them unless you're saying that you're going to harm yourself, you're going to harm someone else, or someone else is harming you. Other than that, it's between you, your therapist, and the four walls. Your therapist is bound by the law to keep that information confidential. So the biggest difference is I can be going through something and I can talk to my best friend about it. My best friend isn't bound by the law. She can go tell whoever she wants to. If I talk to my sister about something that's going on in the home and my sister wants to go and, tell my mom about it, feel free. She can do that. Nothing stops her from doing that. But when you come to counseling, when you come to therapy, your therapist is not going to do that. So you don't have to worry about that message getting back to someone that you're not ready to address that issue with.
In counseling, mostly all, unless you listen to the 3 reasons she said they won't be, all secrets are kept. And so that brings us to misconception number 8. Counseling takes up too much time. I don't have time. You got time?
I definitely have time for my self-care, for my health, and for my well-being. Just like I go to the doctor when I'm not feeling well, I make the time for that. Like I don't have a choice to say I don't have time to, go feel better, go to the doctor. So I think counseling is the same way. Like people have time for what they make time for. And if it's my mental health, counseling is, usually 1 hour a session. You can go once a week. You could go once every other week. You could go once a month. So, if you make that time, if you find that that's important for you, your mental health, you can definitely find, 1 hour somewhere in your busy schedule.
And another thing to throw in there is that it really just depends on the setting. Most group sessions that is, 3 or more people, the session will be a little longer, probably about an hour and a half, versus the individual one would be about 45 minutes to an hour. So we can all find an hour somewhere in our week to set aside. So it really doesn't take as much time as you think. Definitely, if it helps you get better, you'll take the time out to get better. I know I will.
Right, definitely priority.
So that brings us to misconception number 9. How experienced are counselors really?
Yeah, because what qualifies this person to help me with my problems?
I've been in school, about 20 years. I'm a professional student. I'm a professional student at this point. But counselors, we have to go to graduate school. You can't be a licensed professional counselor without the degree in either school counseling, clinical mental health counseling, or addictions counseling. So that's automatically 2 to 4 years depending on your schedule and things like that. But during that time, we have classroom experiences and we have clinical experiences. I know at my program at UNC Charlotte, we have a practicum, an internship 1, and an internship 2 before we graduate. And so collectively, that is about 650 hours of just clinical experience that we have to get. On top of that, once you graduate, if you want to get your license, you have to get your LCMHC-A, and then you have to get up to how many hours? 2,000?
3,000
Oh, see, I
hours.
underestimated. 3,000 hours of experience. So,
And while you're getting those hours, you are supervised by a counselor that's been licensed for 5 or more years. And so though maybe you get a new counselor or someone who hasn't been licensed long, just know that when they have that license, that they come with experience already, and that they have someone that if they can't handle the problem, they can bounce it back off of someone else. To become a counselor is not an easy task. And so they definitely come experienced, even if they're brand new. Trust.
And they have
experience.
And they have clinical experience and life experience. We all know that life experience is a great teacher. So imagine having someone who has 3,000 hours of clinical experience versus in addition to a lifetime of experience as well.
Right.
So that's a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and guidance, because that's what we provide, guidance by someone that went to school. You tell someone you went to school, that's a great way to get them on board. And so that brings us to our last and final misconception. What if my therapist does not like me? It's not our job to place any kind of judgment on any client that we have. So whether we do like you or whether we don't like you, it doesn't matter. If we do like you, that's a plus. But if we don't like you, that's just what it is. But either way, you shouldn't know, because we should be doing our job effectively enough to help you grow. So it's not our job or our place to do or don't like you. We're just here to do our job, help provide growth and hope where needed, and make sure that your mental health is taken care of and you're emotionally sound and your spirit feels good when you walk out of that agency or that office or wherever you have your session. But whether or not your counselor likes you should never be a factor when receiving counseling, because it's all about you and your mental health.
Definitely. I don't think it matters, and I don't think that should be a concern. Your therapist is not paid to be your friend. Your therapist is paid to help facilitate healing.